back to our channel, or welcome if you're new. If so, you can subscribe. The button is down below. I post beauty, lifestyle, and sometimes a random video. Kind of depends my mood, but mostly beauty and lifestyle, but I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. So today's video is going to be a tag video, which I'm super excited about. So this is the drugstore makeup tag, and this one was created by Jen. I'll leave her channel down below. I've seen a ton of people do this video and I just was super intrigued. I love drugstore makeup. This will be kind of surprising for you and me because I haven't even looked at the questions yet, so that's a fun time, but I'm really excited. I have the questions literally right next to me, but I might have to move them closer because I'm kind of blind, even though I'm not that blind. You know, I'm like that person that like can see close up, but sometimes I can't, you know? Like I kind of act blinder than whatever, that doesn't even matter. Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't looked at the questions, but there are 14 questions, so this should be a fun time, and let's just get right into it. So the first question says, if you could only use one drugstore affordable brand, what would it be? That is hard because there's so many good drugstore brands that I love. One drugstore brand, that's crazy. I think I'm gonna have to go with e.l.f. I've really been loving their products recently. The bite-sized eyeshadow palettes have been really nice. I really like their concealer. Their eye primer is really good, and for me lately, e.l.f. has just been that standalone brand that has been really good for me, and I just really love a lot of their products. So if I could only use one drugstore brand, I think that would be what it would be for me, honestly. All the other drugstore brands I used to love, I don't really love that much anymore, so I think e.l.f. is that one for me that I would definitely use. So number 2 says, what is the most underrated drugstore affordable brand? That is so hard. I don't know. I want to say e.l.f. again, but I know a lot of people do talk about them. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of cruelty-free ones too, which makes it extra hard. Let me look in my drawer as if that's gonna help me. So I want to say Catrice. Now I've only tried like I think 2 of their products, but from the stuff I've tried I really like, and I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about them. I feel like they get talked about from time to time, but I feel like their stuff is really good, and although I haven't used a ton from them, I feel like they are kind of underrated. Number 3, what is the most overrated drugstore affordable brand? I'm trying to think of something cruelty-free. Right off the bat, I want to say something that's not cruelty-free, and since I'm not fully cruelty-free, I feel like it's acceptable. I can't really think of a cruelty-free version that I feel like is overrated. Part of me wants to say ColourPop, but I love their products, but I feel like, and also I don't really feel like they're overrated, so. But I want to say Maybelline. I've always felt like they're kind of overrated. Yes, I use Maybelline from a very young age, but nowadays I feel like they're very overrated just because I feel like they're trying to stick to old trends and stuff like that, and I just don't really love the products that they have. If I'm being completely honest, I just feel like some of their products kind of overrated. It's kind of a little bit in the past, a little stuck in the past. I feel like they're kind of, I don't know, and I just feel like their products are overhyped, and for what they aren't like that amazing. So that's just my opinion. I know I don't really buy from them anymore, but I just feel like their stuff is kind of overrated. Like you can get probably the same stuff anywhere else, you know what I mean? So number 4 says, what is your favorite product for under $5? That is easy. That is the e.l.f. Bite Size Palette. This is probably one of my favorite products from the drugstore, not gonna lie, but this is their eyeshadow palette thingy. I really love this. It's so pretty, and it's really good to get like a basic, just everyday look with it, and you can also like define your crease, and it's just a really good palette for really cheap, and it's under $5. I believe these retail for like $2.50 or $3.50. So good, and it's one of my favorite products, like I said, from the drugstore. So amazing. So it's just my favorite. What is a hidden gem from the drugstore that nobody talks about? That's hard. I'm trying to think from the drugstore. Okay, so this one's newer, so I feel like nobody talks about this, but I'm obsessed with this. It's the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. This stuff is amazing. I use this for my eyeshadow pretty much every day, and in the heat, it's been really helping my eyeshadow stay on all day. This reminds me exactly of a MAC paint pot because you stick your finger in the pot, put on your lid, and your eyeshadow kind of just appears to that, sticks to that. And this has been my favorite recently. It's newer. I got this off Ulta not that long ago, and I really like this. It also comes in various amount of shades. I have mine in cream, so it's just like an eyelid shade for my skin tone. They also have like a white if you really want your eyeshadows to like pop, but I just really like this this eye primer. I think it's really nice, and it's very easy to use. I find like I just really I just really like it, and I hate saying really, so I need to stop that. But nobody has talked about this yet, and I definitely need to go through a drugstore venture soon when I can, because I feel like I'm not up to date on all the drugstore stuff, and I really need to get there. So I will one of these days, but this is definitely one of my favorite finds as of recently, and one of my hidden gems, I guess. Number 6 is, what is your favorite drugstore foundation? I feel like at this current moment I don't really have one. I had a so I'm gonna mention my non-cruelty free one because I did have one a couple months ago, but now I don't have one. So leave your favorite drugstore foundations that are cruelty free down below because I need suggestions. But my favorite drugstore foundation a couple months ago that got discontinued was the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. That was my favorite foundation. I literally repurchased 2 or 3 tubes of that. So that was like my favorite. I don't really have a favorite current drugstore foundation. I used to love the L'Oreal Pro Glow. That was my favorite. At one point I liked Maybelline Fit Me, but at this current moment today, July of 2020, I do not have a favorite drugstore foundation, but I definitely need suggestions. So if you have any favorites, let me know down below. Okay, so number 7 says, what products do you tend to buy at the drugstore versus high end? I buy mascaras always at the drugstore. I hardly ever get high-end mascaras, and if I do, they're usually sample size or they come in subscription boxes. So that's the only reason why I would have a full size of a high-end mascara. But mostly I get my favorite mascara is Essence Lash Princess, and I always get that from the drugstore. I typically always also get drugstore foundations, concealers, powders, typically, even though right now I'm using a high-end powder. But for the most part, I usually get my base products from the drugstore just because it's so cheap, and most of my makeup is from the drugstore, just because even if I had ton of money to spend, I would honestly get it from the drugstore, because might as well save yourself some money and stuff for like extra things. But I always get my mascara and my base products from the drugstore. I think it'd be interesting to do a video like dividing up my makeup and seeing what's high-end, what's drugstore. I think that'd be really interesting, or affordable. But that is definitely, those are definitely the key items I get from the drugstore. Also, eyebrow gel. I always get that from the drugstore because they go through that not like super fast, but I just think the ones I've tried at the drugstore are unbeatable. What drugstore brand do you think is overpriced? I have a couple that I think are overpriced. I think Pixi is definitely overpriced. Just because I've gotten a couple of their palettes that are $25, which $25 for a palette, I don't mind spending that much for a palette, especially since theirs are pretty big and the pans are pretty big, so I feel like it's worth it. But I feel like Pixi is just very expensive for what their products are, and their skincare I think is very expensive, in my opinion, for drugstore, especially since it has lots of fragrance in it. Do not recommend. I just think their product's really overpriced. I have their highlighter that they created a couple years ago. It's discontinued now. I never use it in videos anymore because of that reason. I usually use it off camera. But I just think their products are overpriced for what they are. I think they're good, but I think they're kind of overpriced. Pixi is just that main brand that really sticks out to me for being overpriced for what it is. Sometimes I think L'Oreal can be overpriced. I know it's not cruelty free, but I just wanted to mention I think their products can be overpriced because some of their foundations retail for like $12 to $15, honestly. And I'm like, is it really worth it? Like when you can go to literally any like e.l.f. and get something that's probably just as good quality and stuff, and like Makeup Revolution. I just don't see it being worth it. Plus some of the Pixi things, like it's not that far off from high-end pricing, so it's like might as well go high-end and buy the same exact product, you know? What's your favorite drugstore dupe? I don't know if I have any right now. Definitely the eye primer I just showed you is a good MAC Paint Pot dupe. This I just showed you. I think that's a really good dupe. This Make Me Brow from Essence is a really good dupe for the Benefit Gimme Brow. It's a really good dupe for that. This is my favorite brow gel. I'm trying to think. I don't have like, oh, these e.l.f. bite-sized palettes for whatever reason remind me of the Natasha Denona palettes. So I think that's a really good dupe, like the mini Natasha Denona palettes. Those have been on my eye a lot recently, not gonna lie. That's kind of a dupe. I feel like there's mini dupes for everything at the drugstore. But those are like the top ones that stand out to me. Those are definitely the ones I really notice and stuff, but I don't feel like I have complete dupes. I know the, everyone's saying this CoverGirl mascara, which I kind of want to try. is a dupe for the Too Faced Better Than Sex, so I definitely want to try that. I forget which one it is. It might be the Revitalist, I'm not really sure, but I definitely want to try that out. So yeah, those are like my mini dupes. I feel like those are pretty good dupes, if, in my opinion. I always feel weird saying dupe because of Cooper, and we always call him dupe. It's always weird. Number 10 is, what's the best drugstore eyeshadow formula? That is so hard. I think ColourPop makes bomb eyeshadow palettes, to be honest. I just really love their eyeshadows. Like, they're just so buttery and creamy. I just think they have the best formula. They're just so buttery and creamy. I have several other palettes. This one's the Making Mauves, which is the newest one to my collection. Dream Street I have so many of them. So pretty and stuff. I think that's a really, I've always thought ColourPop has had good eyeshadows for the price. I think they're like one of the best formulas. Also the e.l.f. bite-sized palettes. I know I've talked about these like 3 times already, but I swear to you, this is probably my favorite eyeshadow formula. It's like, just when the formula is good, the formula is good. Okay, so the next one says, what is the worst drugstore eyeshadow formula? I haven't tried a bad drugstore eyeshadow formula in a very long time, so I'm not really sure. I really like the e.l.f., at least for that palette. I really like it. I really like ColourPop, like I said. Try not to mention the good ones because we're talking about the bad now, but you know how I am if you watch my channel regularly. You know how I am if you've been here before, if you've watched my videos before. I don't know, honestly. Honestly, Maybelline, like I've tried a lot of their palettes and I was just like, well, they're quads. And at the time, they were good, but now I'm just like, what was this garbage? So, I don't know, I don't really have a current one that I can think of, but that was one at a time that I was like, eh. And that's why I don't have any, well, besides them not being cruelty-free, why I don't have any of their eyeshadow still. So number 12 is drugstore brand you used to love but aren't crazy about anymore. I used to love Wet n Wild, but they went non-cruelty free, so now I don't love them. Same with Precision's formula. Like, I was willing to spend the price with their foundation or their products, and now not so much. So those two really stick out to me, but I don't buy those because I don't buy those because they're non-cruelty free, not because I don't think their products are good. So I feel like that's a little bit different, but those are the only two that can really come to my mind. Maybe also Makeup Revolution. I loved their concealer and I loved a lot of their products, but I don't know, like I just kind of was over it and I kind of got tired of their products, if that makes any sense. So not so much anymore, but I feel like kind of with them. So next one says drugstore product you didn't expect to like, but totally wowed you, Katie. I don't know, because I always go into products thinking I'm gonna love them, thinking I'm gonna like them. I can't really think of one. I really can't. I don't really have one. Like maybe e.l.f. products, because everyone was like, ew, what is this at a point? But now everyone raves about them. You're like, yes, love that. I can't really think of one, because usually I buy things that are raved about, or I usually don't care about that kind of stuff also, but I don't know, I can't really think of one. So the last question says, favorite affordable palette right now? And I'm sorry, but the e.l.f. bite-size palettes, like that's unbeatable. These are the most affordable palette I have and my favorite affordable palette right now. I just really like these. I definitely need to try the other colors. So if you have any suggestions, I really want to get the Rosewater one, but I'm kind of waiting out. I just want to start off with one before getting them all. But honestly, it's unbeatable. Like, look at those shadows. So pretty. And I know I've already raved about them, so I'm not even going to go into it any further. But yeah, that's going to be it for the drugstore makeup tag. I had a really fun time filming this for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to answer these questions, or if you film videos, be sure to film this and let me know when it's up, because I need to watch it. Because I would love to watch so many more of these. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you are already, and be sure to also hit the notification bell down below so you don't miss another video. Also, be sure to follow my blog, my vlog channel, and all of my socials. They're always linked down below, and I'll try to put them right there, and they're going to be at the end card as well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.